Get ready for the Tech Zone. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Time Zone. Add the app to your cell phone. Paul Amadeus Lane Zone. With informative interviews and breakthroughs with CEOs and gurus and who's and reviews. Count on Paul to bring y'all the news. Yeah, he done paid dues and never snooze, refused to lose and stayed humble and still played by the rules. On the scene since 16, Pop's been Paul's gasoline. Spiritual house have to stay clean. Put the kingdom first, y'all know the routine. In the world, the unclean disaster, it's the vaccine, so quarantine, or relive the emphysema epidemic of 1918.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Zone. What's going on? It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane. I am so happy to have you on our show today. We have some great guests, some great topics, and I'm sure you are really going to enjoy the show we have planned for you today. So what I wanted to do before we get going and everything and talk about some great things, I want to remind you how you can watch the show on various streaming platforms. You have Roku, you have Fire TV. Did you know about our Tech Zone channel? Now, the best way that you can find out how to download this is if you go to my IG page, and it's Paul Amadeus Lane on IG. I have a Linktree link in my bio. There it shows you how you can download the Fire TV app, the Roku app, not only for the Tech Zone, but also for my show, The Entertainment Zone, too. And also how you can subscribe to the podcast, too. But I can never neglect, you can never forget my audience here at home base at ABC News Radio, KMET, AM and FM. If it wasn't for you, all the other things that have happened because of this show wouldn't exist. So I appreciate you, my audience that I started off with, and also my new audience who is with us. We really, really appreciate you. And we love your support. And keep doing what you're doing. We really, really love what you're doing. All right, before we bring on our guests, I would like to talk to you about an amazing piece of innovation that I'm using right now. It's called the Keto Mojo. Now, what this Keto Mojo does, it allows you to test your glucose and your ketone level. So maybe you're doing a ketogenic diet, maybe you're doing different diets out there. You want to make sure that your blood is okay. This innovation is amazing. I've been using it for over a couple of months, my wife and I, and it's really helped us to see if certain foods out there spike our blood glucose or not. So I want to extend a special offer to you that my friends over at Keto Mojo has extended to me. And that is 15 to 20% off your first purchase. If you go to hangwithpaul.com/Keto Mojo, you can get hooked up right there. And a big shout out to my friends, Mr. and Mrs. Mojo. We're going to have them on the show, talk about this great innovation and how it can benefit all of us with having a healthy lifestyle. Almost messed it up. Did you guys get that? Ooh, sometimes the brain goes faster than the mouth. But yeah, definitely check it out. All right. Global Accessibility Awareness Day is coming up. I believe it's May the 20th. And as you know, I've been doing a lot of things during Global Accessibility Awareness Day for many years. Because of being disabled, it's really a day where technology shines and what it has done for the disabled community out there. And my next guest is doing some incredible things when it comes to closed captioning. And not only that, but just innovation as a whole, what they're able to do. Not only those who have hearing impairments are benefiting from this, but also other ones as well. So let's check in with my great friend, Larry Goldberg from Verizon Media. I am so happy to have with me right now my next guest. Had opportunity to meet him a few years back, and he's been an awesome person, an awesome advocate that I can always run to and chat with. We're talking about the great Larry Goldberg, Senior Director and Head of Accessibility at Verizon Media. Larry, how are you, my friend?
Paul, always great to see you. Thinking back to that first time we met now, it's actually 2 years ago, March, and I've loved being on your show ever since.
Yeah, I was at CSUN. We had a blast there, and we were looking forward to seeing each other again at CSUN last year, but then the pandemic hit, and we all know how the story goes, right, Larry?
I'm telling everyone I know that next year in LA, when the conference happens, we're just going to have a big party.
Hey,
right?
absolutely. I am there, my friend, and it's always great to catch up with you. And I know
Yeah,
something huge is happening for our community this month, and that is a Global Accessibility Awareness Day. We know that's on May the 20th, and I know last year you allowed me to steal some of your knowledge and on the program that I did for it. I really appreciate that, Larry. That was really awesome.
great.
And you and the team are doing some fantastic things. And Larry, what do we have to look forward to this Global Accessibility Awareness Day?
Well, it's the 10th anniversary, which is really pretty awesome. And Global Accessibility Awareness Day started in the minds of these two people, Joe Devon and Jennison Asuncion, Joe from Diamond Media and Jennison from LinkedIn. And it's just grown and grown and grown. This May 20th is going to be almost overwhelming. People all over the globe will be celebrating. And with my group, we're already starting. As a matter of fact, on May 6th, there will have been, I'm not sure our timing here, XR for All. We're going to be on 5G Labs webinar about how we're going to make the future of virtual media accessible. And that'll be recorded so people can come back and see that at the Verizon 5G Labs. And leading up to the 20th, we're doing all kinds of stuff at Verizon Media. We announced just a little while ago 100% of everything we put on all of our platforms will be closed caption. So Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, In the Know, AOL, anywhere you see any video on any of our sites, on any device, will be closed caption. And no one's done that before. So we're pretty proud of that. And that is, again, in honor of this global connection we're all having. And it's working well. And the execs just simply said, yeah, let's do it. It didn't take long at all to make that pretty big decision, big commitment.
I love that, Larry. When we hear of decisions like that, when the powers that be get behind it, it really makes it easier. And when we look at just where we've come when it comes to closed caption, Larry, I know many ones who've heard our chats in the past. I know you shared your thoughts at the Abilities Expo we had last year, and and also our different other interviews that we had. And Larry, looking back at where we're at today, where we came from with closed captioning, and what we have to look forward to, Larry. It's a really exciting time to be alive.
It's funny. I started in this whole world in closed captioning. That's how I got involved in the whole disability community. And it's really quite a while ago, like over 30 years. I don't know that I've ever imagined at that time when I was working so hard to get TV captioned that we get to the point where it's table stakes. It's just like, of course, we're captioning everything. And that's actually the way all technology should be. I know you were admiring my T-shirt. It says "Born Accessible,"
I
and
love.
that's the point. This is what we're pushing for: is no matter what you're developing next, whatever it may be, whether it's virtual reality or a new kind of phone, streaming set-top box, don't release it. Don't launch it until you've actually built in accessibility, and it's catching on. It's really catching on.
I love it, Larry. And one thing about what you talked about too about the 100% of videos being captioned, and it's not going to be with AI, is it?
Aha, we like humans. We still have humans working on our stuff, and we know that automatic speech recognition is getting better. Of course, we've all been trapped in our homes, so we're using the video conferencing platforms like Zoom, like BlueJeans, uh, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. They're all building in ASR, but you'll still get your mistakes. You still won't get your speaker ID. You still won't get sound effects, not much. It'll get there. There's no question, but we still like the human touch that we can add to our captions. So all of that video that I mentioned, thousands of videos every day we publish, humans have touched every one of them.
I love it. And Larry, when we look at just where we're at with captioning, and I do work in the gaming community, and what have you seen over the years with that kind of piqued your ears as far as captioning and things like that? I know one of the games that I worked on with Naughty Dog, really, really open eyes of ones out there when it
Yeah.
comes to captioning and everything and all the accessibility features on there. What has it done to the industry as a whole, Larry?
The gaming world, they're very, very creative, so they don't want to be put in a box. So when we say, hey, there's some deaf people who use your technology, you should put some words on screen. They started doing all kinds of interesting, the speech bubbles. You can put them anywhere on the screen. You can change the color, the size, where they're coming from. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot from how gamers decided they wanted to make their world more accessible, and they've been building a lot of great stuff into. Well, the great hero this past year was The Last of Us Part Two. They built in so many accessibility features that they will stand as the exemplar for a while. And they combine all kinds of stuff into a usable menu. You can pick and choose your own personal experience, and the rest of the technology world can really learn from that.
That's so true. And I remember when I started working on that project with Naughty Dog and Sony PlayStation, just what was going to be the reality. I mean, all of us were like, this is going to be awesome if we can pull this off. And to see it happen and see the community as a whole embrace the whole movement was really awesome. And that's what I love about our industry, especially when it comes to accessibility and things like that. We get along with each other because it's like we want to see the common good, and that's why the great things that are happening with the CTA Foundation and CES, and we're so glad that if God's willing, CES 2022, like, we'll be able to see each other there too and hang out with the Kevin Bacon of the tech world, Steve Ewell. So I mean, I'm looking forward to the possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great because not only do we support each other and make sure we each know about what each other's doing, but we also go to each other. So, like when Microsoft came out with the Xbox Adaptive Controller, we all went, oh, all right, you just set a pretty high bar there. Now we're all going to have to aim to top that one. And it's friendly competition, but it serves our users, and that's really the best part of it.
That is so true. And something else that you guys are doing is going to be pretty awesome too, Larry. You guys are paying it forward. You guys are helping out different organizations out there who do some advocacy. You want to talk about that, my friend?
Yeah, when it comes down to it, Verizon Media has advertising platforms. That's how we generate most of our revenue, also subscriptions and commerce. But knowing that we have millions upon millions of viewers on all of our sites, we decided this year that we're going to put $5 million worth of advertising donations into the hands of a lot of good friends in the disability community to support their organizations and the advocacy work they're doing. So, organizations like the American Foundation for the Blind, the American Council of the Blind, Hearing Loss Association, National Association of the Deaf, American Association of People with Disabilities, we turned to them and said, hey, you want some free ads? You want to advocate for the work you're doing? Wide open. So we dedicated a team of advertising experts in our company to help create these ads, and they're streaming now. And it's going to add up to about $5 million worth of free ads.
And Larry, you hit on a very good subject. In order for us to spread the word and keep the word going, we need to let other people know about it. And it's so great that you guys are doing that over at Verizon Media to really, really help us out. And when we look at VR now, VR, closed captioning, how does all this work, Larry? I know some people may be watching and hearing this for the first time, be like, huh? So
Right,
give us an
right.
explanation on that, my friend.
I love it. Even in the early days when I was working on TV and audio description, and people would say, really? Blind people watch TV? Why would they watch TV? And I would love to get into that discussion and argument with them. Same thing for virtual reality. Why would a blind person want to walk around in this really visual environment? And the answer is you can bet they do. And the notion that you can look around in this world that's been created in a computer and have it described to you, that you can travel to places that you've never been, gesture throughout your room and have feedback to you. So we're looking at ways of adapting both input, how do you control it, and output, what is that content going to serve you for? And we're working with industry leaders, the W3C, the big tech companies, and we're looking to adapt the infrastructure. And coming up, Another big announcement on June 10 is our third annual XR Access Symposium with some amazing big speakers going to be there for our keynotes. You can see the schedule at xraccess.org. And we just landed the Chief Innovation Officer for the U.S. Department of Labor, who wants to come and talk about how XR is going to help in the workplace.
Wow.
And he keeps telling us he's so excited. It was like, no, no, we're so excited. So we're going to get together and have Chike Ague, who's just recently appointed, come and talk to everyone about how important accessibility in this next gen tech is going to be to everybody.
You know what, Larry, I was talking with my colleagues over at United Spinal Association, and we were talking about um, how the lack of representation of the disabled community as far as staffing on the Hill. And we were talking about how if we get more people who are aides who work on the Hill, who are disabled and who can advocate for us, it can really change minds and change ideas. And the fact that we have a willing participant in this administration that wants to help out and listen and learn. I mean, it really just it's music to our ears, Larry, because so often people want to put us in a box. They want to relegate us to the room. They want to put us in the basement and say, here's your social security, leave us alone. This is all that you're getting right here. But it's really gratifying to see that, Larry. And what's your personal thoughts on that, about how representation matters, and just having people in the right strategic roles that can really help us out?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, awareness is key. It's not really technology. You can do anything with technology these days if you think of it. It's not like people are evil or unwilling, they're just unthinking. So, by having a colleague who sits next to you who uses a wheelchair or a head mouse or a single switch, and you look and so, oh, that's really interesting. You become familiar, you get comfortable, and you think the next time I'm writing a piece of legislation or I'm calling a meeting together or I've got a job open, you're not going to forget that there are people with disabilities that should be included. It's going to open your mind. It's going to really help advance. And in this administration, there are so many supporters around these issues of accessibility. So, yes, the U.S. Department of Labor, but just last week, the American Association of People with Disabilities had their annual gala, and it was kicked off by President Biden. And then there was Valerie Jarrett, and there was Tammy Duckworth, senator, and they were all in. Every one of them was saying this is a priority, and it's a breath of fresh air, and we're going to see some movement.
And the way I look at it too, Larry, disabilities doesn't doesn't matter if you're red or blue. Doesn't matter if whatever other member of the community, black, white, purple, green, whatever nationality you are. It transcends all that because it affects all of us. And I think when we focus on things like that, that'll bring us together and be able to make some changes, out there. You rally around things that unite us. And what unite us is making sure people are taken care of, making sure that the underserved community, like the disabled community, have a fair shot of just working, living, independence, and things like that. And I think we'll be making some strides, here, and hopefully we can continue to grow. And I wanted to go back to the XR Access. That, in my opinion, and Larry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's one conference I think doesn't get the props that it should get, because it is so invaluable, not only to the disabled community and the tech world, for just people in general. And Larry, let's talk about that a little more, and just the reason why it was created in the first place.
Yeah, well, we were in this relationship with Cornell Tech, which is University of New York, that is does some pretty cutting edge research. Well, here's an example of what you're saying. The professor that we had given a grant to, she has low vision, Professor Shiri Azencote. So she clearly was going to call attention to the issue that the user interface needs to be highly developed. So she came and said, why don't we do a little symposium, try to raise some awareness? And, immediately it caught on. And everyone's like, this is the next big thing. We've been waiting for virtual reality to really take off. We see it coming now. And if we don't do the work now, it will go mass market and we'll have to be doing a big catch up. We need to build it in, not bolt it on after the fact. And so many people just said, yeah, we agree, we want in. So this upcoming symposium and our ongoing work streams is really gathering a lot of support. We're looking at probably somewhere around 1,000 people tuning in on June 10. And then we're going to have breakout meetings and work streams where we're going to get to work. We're going to roll up our sleeves and say, what do we need to build? You'll see some on our own platforms across Verizon Media and Riot Studios. You'll start seeing some innovative ways we're going to make sure we're fully inclusive. And it's time. It's time now. We don't want to be late to it. And we've got the right people involved, creative folks, academics, and mostly people with disabilities who are guiding our discussions.
I love that. What's the saying?
Nothing about us without us.
And then remember last year, I remixed it and said nothing for us without us. So
Yeah.
remember we talked about it. So that was, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Larry, because you walk the walk, you talk the talk. We really, really appreciate that. And Larry, who should attend this event? Maybe there's someone listening to this in the tech world, and maybe this is their first, introduction into the XR access. Who should attend?
We really would like some tool manufacturers, the people who give you the way to create content, Unity, Unreal, those kinds of folks who really hold the tools in their hands. So we want to see them show up. We want to see game developers show up. Um, Creative types, content developers, advertisers. We have one whole work stream on the business case for XR because we think it's just simply good business. It's not just feel good stuff. We got another one on inclusive design. If you're a person with a disability who cares a lot about next tech, probably a young person who has lived their lives with the ADA and tech, we want them to attend. And then we have another one on the accessible development. And those are people who actually build things, who build the online, the headsets. And we want them to show up so they can be exposed to different ways that people use their tech. People are really different. You mentioned this intersectionality. People have all different ways of using their tech. And I think we really feel the love from the tech world. They're beginning to get it. And they need to sit and experience it with some people who have just different ways of using tech, but they have a common hunger and love for it.
I love it, Larry. And lastly, what can we as members of the media do to help out with XR access? What can we do? Because you've been in this industry for a long time, Larry. Media, everything, and the age-old adage: if it bleeds, it leads. But we're trying to change that narrative to talk about things that empower, that enhance our lives. What can we do as the media to help spread the word about this amazing conference?
Well, you yourself are a great storyteller, and it's about the stories. And this is what attracts people, an engaging story. I mean, look what happened with TikTok. It's amazing how many people are tuning into these little bitty stories. So we want to start telling some good stories. We want people who are influencers to say, look what I'm able to do on this device because it was built right. And I think we in media, we can do two things. We can try to convince people, or we can try to just convey our passion. And that's what you and I do. We just convey our interest and we bring people along with us, and they say, I want to be part of this. So we use our social media and we tell good stories. And that's what gets people. That's what really strikes humans, is really good storytelling.
And Larry, you are an excellent storyteller too. You and I have had many chats, engaging conversations, and looking forward to keeping that going, for years to come. So, my friend, before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to let us know about?
Let's see. Well, I think the main thing is these upcoming events. Pay attention to GAD, Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and the XR Access Symposium. Those are milestones in your calendar. May 20, June 10, and let's just tell some more stories because it's pretty exciting stuff.
I love it, Larry. And Larry, it's always good to catch up with you, to chat with you. And Let's use our inner Jedi thinking right now. Major League Baseball. Well, we get the Dodgers, Red Sox World Series. What do you think?
Can I put on my hat?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yep, yep, yep.
I would love to see Mookie back in Fenway Park. I've been to a game already. I went to one a couple of weeks ago. The park is opening up. It was so great. It was so good to be back. I would love to see Dodgers Red Sox World Series. That would be awesome.
Yeah, can you believe they just gave us Mookie? I was so happy when they gave it to us because he's a great talent. You know,
We love him no matter what.
That's true. That's true. What about the Celtics? What do you think? What do you think they're going to do in the playoffs?
It's been a while. There's been a drought. And it's funny. It's not as bad as New York, where I'm originally from, but the Knicks are doing it too. So the world is changing. I got hopes. I got hopes for the Celtics. I want to see that happen.
Now, is that kind of weird growing up in New York, but having affinity for some Boston teams? So you're a Knicks fan, not a Celtic fan.
No, I completely turned on both the Yankees, which I grew up with, and the Knicks. I'm now Red Sox and Celtics.
So you turned to the dark side. Oh wow! So what about football? You a Pats fan?
Watch out! Yes, I am, and that's always trouble. It's always trouble to say that, but how can you hate a winning team when they win? Even after Tom Brady left, it was like these are some good players. So yeah, Pats too.
Yeah, I mean you got to respect success. Even though I didn't like the Pats, but since Tommy Boy was from California, I kind of silently rooted for him, but don't tell nobody, even though this is going to air and everything. But success. You look at what they've been able to do, and we got to take our hats off for them. I think looking back 10 years from now, we're going to see just how great that dynasty was, and it's going to be nobody's ever going to match that. No, match it at all.
And how about old people? Tom's getting on there, and I feel that. He's over 40 now, which is not that old, but you got to respect that.
But I will tell you this, though. I like what they did in the draft. I like the new quarterback, the young rookie they got, and I think better days are coming for you, my friend. But always great catching up with you, Larry, and looking forward to having another chat with you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me.
A huge shout out to my man, Larry Goldberg. Always enjoyed chatting with him, catching up with him, and make sure you check out all the great things that he mentioned that Verizon Media is doing. And we know in the news that Verizon is selling Verizon Media, but it's not going to stop them. They're going to continue to grow, continue to flourish, and they're going to do some amazing things. And we're going to be on top of that. And they're always going to be on here talking about it. So, Larry, much success for you and the team. Appreciate all that you do. And thank you so much for coming on the show. When we get back, we are going to talk about an innovation that's really good for those in the financial world. If you have financial business, but you may even think about it too, that maybe this piece of innovation can help me out in my industry that I'm in too. Well, only one way to find out is when you come back after the break. Be right back after these messages.